1.
What's up, YouTube and Facebook? Welcome to Not Quite Mint. Today we're going to do some keys in isolation, and we're going to be looking at Morbius, the living vampire from Spider-Man, as one of his big bad guys, as it were. So we're going to go through some bits and pieces, his first appearance, most valuable, and then mine and Rich's tops picks as per last week. So should we get into it, Rich?
Yeah, let's make a start. So if you are new, obviously, to the channel, do make you obviously hit some pieces. Obviously, hit that, and then you'll know when we're going live and doing future videos. But yeah, we're doing Morbius today, guys. A bit of a funny kind of choice, because obviously we were expecting a imminent arrival of a new film and everything all pulling together. But meantime, we're talking about it, and we just thought, why not, didn't we?
Yeah, well, we did DC last week, so it's a Marvel week.
Try and balance it out.
The old vampire job.
I like your impression. I do like your impression.
I can't do anything else like that. I ain't got fangs, so.
I hope you haven't got fangs, or else like you'll probably be burning in the sun right now, maybe.
Yeah, true. I mean, I probably should have shut the blinds to this one.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's Morbius. I'm going to be honest. Before we decided we were going to do Morbius, I had never, ever read anything to do with Morbius.
I'll be honest, neither have I. But I do remember him from the 90s cartoon.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'd never read anything about him, and it was literally, I thought, I'm going to have to read some of these books. So today I have spent my lunch reading some of the stories, just so that I've got a little bit more of an impression. But I will be honest, I think I pretty much knew in a nutshell all I needed to know anyway, in a weird kind of way.
Well, pretty much straight away off the from the first appearance, you kind of get everything about him, really.
Well, you do, yeah. Literally, that's it. And everything else that I read, he just goes through like pretty much like the same kind of like cycle. But I'm still excited to see like the film when it comes out.
Yeah, definitely
more so to see what happens when I don't know, when like they try and tie it together with Spider-Man or whatever.
And Venom, that'd be wicked.
Oh yeah, and obviously Venom's got to happen as well. So, right then, let's have a little look. So we want to do first appearance first, don't we?
Yeah, man.
All right, mate. Here we
go.
First
appearance of Morbius.
So, what? I know. Have you not put the transparency on there?
Oh, mate! Did I forget the transparency? Did I do them as JPEGs rather than PNGs?
Yeah.
Oh, well, never mind.
Oh well. We'll just flash them up. So first one is his first appearance, and what's his first appearance, Tom?
It's the Amazing Spider-Man issue 101, and written by Roy Thomas, and artist is Jill Kane.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they're both, I think, the creators. I'm sure I read somewhere that it was something to do with Morbius was one of the first books or something where Stan Lee wasn't a creator or something, or he wasn't a writer or something.
Well, initially he was supposed to be Spider-Man's horror-based kind of bad guy, and they were going to go down the horror route, because obviously with Spider-Man it's all like his bad guys are quite funny and you can have a laugh at them, and he just punches them in the face and stuff. But I think they wanted to go down the route of like having a little bit of error of fear and horror, as it were. So they went with Morbius, the vampire, as it were. But actually he isn't technically a vampire, because he's never been bitten by one.
Yeah, well, this is it. He just has like vampiric tendencies, doesn't he? And I mean, I read this earlier, this 101, and it's I don't know, it's very of the era, but the whole story around Morbius, which we see in his second appearance, is like, I found it really dark. So you go from like the kind of like campy Spider-Man where he's fighting, like, you know, having this fight with the lizard, and then Morbius pops up. You've got the whole thing where Spider-Man's got, what, 8 arms.
Also, sacks off Gwen Stacy in the first couple of panels.
Yeah, like, yeah, deaths off his Sue-Part girlfriend.
Yeah, upsets John Jonah Jameson as per usual.
Yeah.
Basically, Doc Connors, I'm going to come and live in your house because, you know, you owe me one. I mean, Spider-Man doesn't do things like that.
No, it was a funny one, wasn't it? I mean, I kind of enjoyed 101, and then obviously I've read 102 as well. But yeah, it was an interesting introduction, and definitely.
Yeah. I mean, he went on from this particular issue to then become one of like the most popular anti-heroes, and he became like broody and gritty, and they did quite a few different things with him in his own series, which we'll obviously get into a bit later. Yeah. I personally read this one and I thought, I do not like the writing on this. I just couldn't get into it. I didn't really like him as a character in the first appearance. When the lizard turned up at the end, I was like, yeah, come on, kick his ass, get rid of him. Let's move on from this.
Yeah, it was. I found it a really hard kind of introduction to the character, and I can kind of understand the way that his character development went, like later on with like Legion of Monsters and things like that. He sort of was very much sidestepped, because they could have left. I think at the end of 102, they could have left Morbius. Never seen him again, but obviously, like you say, go down this dark horror route, which is probably similar to like what we'd seen in DC, and you know, because they've got quite, you know, well, they've got Batman for starters, but they've also got like your Swamp Things and people like that, and that's obviously where they thought Morbius was going to develop into. I think
I've just realised Rich is watching. Hi, Rich. And you definitely wouldn't sack off Gwen Stacy.
I figured you knew who this Rich was, so yeah, I was.
Yeah, Rich is a mate from Banbury.
Oh, cool.
We used to go to the TF Transformer conventions together. Good chap.
Good man.
Rich,
thank you. Right.
Yeah, it would.
Cool. Right then. So, shall we do? We'll do most expensive, which is a bit of a weird one, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's in issue 3 for Morbius The Living Vampire, believe it or not.
Yeah,
which I didn't expect.
Yeah, obviously we're talking raw prices, aren't we? I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been slabbed, from what I can tell.
Yeah. So what was it? What was its value on this one? Was it about?
I found it at $276.
Yeah,
which I think is ridiculous, to be honest. But it's a Tom Crocker. Tom Cock.
I mean, it's obviously worthwhile pointing out that, of course, Amazing Spider-Man 101 is first appearance and most expensive.
Yeah,
and this
absolutely. It's like $9,000 for a CGC 9.8.
Yeah, I mean, when you consider ASM 102 in a 9.8 is 2,800 for one of the most recent 9.8 sales. So it's definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, mind you, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not sure if he's actually a really popular character or not. So I'm not sure whether anyone's actually buying anything of his stuff. Yeah,
I think it's one of those ones where the values have obviously massively peaked with the whole like movie announcements and everything like that. So he's like, I think the book's like living off a bit of that hype at the moment. Yeah. Really. That's my feelings anyway. But but obviously that cover that we popped up there, obviously it's a variant of. Is it the 2013 when that one came out?
Yeah, actually, I didn't even know they'd done a new one.
Yeah, well, that's the only Morbius book I've got in my collection, which obviously I'll come to later. But
volume 2 of Living Vampire, because when I googled it earlier, I was looking for issue 1 to read, and I ended up with volume 1, and I didn't even know there was a volume 1. So there's volume 1, volume 2, and then a volume 3 recently. So
yeah, there's one
character because people keep reading it. I mean, I won't read it.
Yeah, there's one from like the 80s, isn't it? Which is volume 1. So it's like a real. I mean, like, yeah, he's a really popular character, isn't he? So do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, extremely popular. I mean, does anyone else want to read it?
Yeah. Oh, but that's what I think. I kind of wonder whether Morbius is one of those ones who, because as I say, reading that first story arc, though, in ASM 101 and 102, for me, I didn't. In this modern day, I did not get captured by his character, and I didn't feel like he melded very well with like the humor that often comes across with like that sort of like camp sort of style of like Spider-Man and everything. It just didn't gel very well with me. Like, so I didn't.
What was it you said to me before we started this? He looked a bit like Michael Jackson.
Well, that was it. Yeah. Whoever thought that I mean, he's got a poor old Michael Morbius when he pops up in the origin part of 102. ASM 102, he has got to have the worst nose of any superhero ever.
Totally agreed.
Ever. But yeah, as I say, I looked at it and I was like, why does it look like Michael Jackson when his plastic surgery has gone wrong?
Michael Jackson gone rogue.
No, he just creased me, man. Anyway, so from next up is we're just going to whiz through a couple of obviously like books that sort of like standouts for us, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, as I say, we until today I hadn't read any Morbius books. I am wanting to try and read a couple of the other ones. Some of the ones that Tom's going to mention, I do want to have a little. I'll have a read through some of those because I think you were saying that they're more my taste.
I would say so.
So my first choice that I was going to talk about, I've already spoke about it quite a lot, which is 102. I personally thought this was better than 101, where obviously he first comes out. 102, you get his origin, which is, I think, if you hadn't got the whole storyline with Spider-Man with 8 arms fighting the lizard and them weirdly like fighting over each other to fight Spider-Man, and then all of a sudden they team up to fight Morbius. If you didn't have that angle and it was just about Morbius and his actual origin, I think I would have liked it a lot more, because you have him murdering his best friend, you have him almost murdering his fiance, and also trying to commit suicide. Which is pretty dark.
Savage.
And that, obviously, in 102, there's obviously 3 parts to the story in that book. So,
of course, because they retouch on this in one of the ones I'm going to talk about. But
yeah.
Obviously, the guy who you're talking about, his best friend, is the one that helps him cure his disease, isn't he? That's right.
I think he's called Emil Neeks or Knight.
Emil Heskey. Doesn't he play for Aston Villa or something?
Many years ago, Emil.
Like the only footballer I know.
But yeah, so 102 that would be, and I think one of the reasons why I'd pick I would look to pick this up as a key as well is that origin angle. Also, it's nowhere near as expensive as his first appearance, but I think it's like an attainable key. I think Raws you should be able to pick up for probably, I don't know, between £100 and £200 with not necessarily great grade though.
I think Rich is right. It is a bit dark for Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, massively. I was like, when I read it, I was like, hold on, we've just gone from laughing at Spider-Man with his 8 arms and sacking off Gwen Stacy, and then
to demanding to be going to Kurt Connor's hideaway house that he's never spoken about ever.
Yeah. Which is all very, very like camp and just very like, as I say, of the era Spider-Man. And then you've got this blood-sucking monster killing his best friend, nearly killing his fiance, and then having a massive guilt trip and trying to kill himself by jumping in the ocean just before he decides to go and slaughter everybody on a fishing boat. Sorry. So, spoilers. But yeah, it's pretty dark.
It's so old. If you haven't read it, you're probably not going to read it.
So yeah, I think that's why he's quite an interesting character though, because it is tragic. I mean, he's dying of some horrible blood disorder, and he's just trying to solve it.
Yeah.
solve it, and he turns himself into this living vampire. So anyway, Tom, you're up. So here's yours, mate.
Oh yeah, so I'm going to do Blade the Vampire Hunter issue 8. This is written by Ian Eddington, and the art's done by Doug Wheatley. I'm really bad at reading out people's names. This one's got a really low distribution rate, so that's why it's a key. But it's the first team up between Blade and Morbius, which they actually later on do in the 90s cartoon, which is pretty cool. And I absolutely love Blade in this. I think he's great. Blade is awesome.
Yeah. Rich is saying most definitely won't read it. Not sure that even Tom King could write this character.
I don't think Tom King would even want to write this character.
I don't.
Tom King's an amazing writer.
Yeah, and your mum's popped in as well. So
hi, Mum.
Yeah. So it was. I'm quite, because I was always a big like Blade fan anyway. I did go through a phase of reading some of the Blade books around the time when they were out, and obviously the Blade films and everything. So that was like, my late teens. That was, I think, when all those came out. So I absolutely loved them.
This particular book has got lots of throwbacks to the actual movie, like because Deacon Frost is in this book, and they talk about him trying to become the vampire god, which is exactly how they do it in the film. And they even got the whole Blade's the main character, main reason for it. He's got to sacrifice this person and that person. He's got to use blood. It's awesome. Actually, it's a really good book. I actually might read this as a series because it's only got 12 issues, so I might go read this. But it's a Blade comic. It's not a Morbius comic. I'm not reading it for Morbius.
No, it's just that, like, yeah. Because what's the key aspect with Morbius on
this? It's a low distribution comic, but it's their first team up, him and Morbius.
Oh, awesome, cool. Well, that again with Marvel having because there's this big thing, isn't there, that they're going to like do some kind of crossover between the Sony film sort of characters and then obviously your MCU characters. So they've got to do it with Spider-Man. So with them introducing
actually,
who knows, really? Who knows?
They might have even thought of this previously, because that's actually not a bad, considering the fact they've written it. It was really popular in the 90s cartoon. That could be a good way of, if Morbius does flop, to get it to circle back up a little bit, is because obviously Blade's a hell of a lot more popular character. Who doesn't like a vampire slayer with attitude?
Yeah, completely. I mean, as I say, I can't wait. I mean, everything's obviously out the window, isn't it, for when things are going to get made and everything like that. But I think...
I don't know, they're bringing Neighbours back.
Yeah. I literally can't wait to see some of the stuff come back anyway. So
I thought you were going to say I can't wait to watch Neighbours.
I love Neighbours. I love it. I don't think I've watched Neighbours since I left school.
I don't think I've ever watched Neighbours.
You don't think you ever have?
I've watched the Neighbours. I don't watch Neighbours.
Your Neighbours are nightmares. Anyway, so my next book that I would like to tell you about is this one, which is Marvel Presents number 28. This one stood out for me when I was looking through his key issues, purely because it's the first team up of a lot of like characters, and as I say, it made me think about like some of the DC books that I've read, like because my dad was a big horror fan, so a lot of comics that he had used to have were like sort of like horror themed, and it just made me think of that because I think, like, I was always a big fan of Swamp Thing.
Is Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider's in this one. Obviously, you've got Man Thing in this one, so you've got the Swamp Thing ripoff. Marvel Swamp Thing. You've got Ghost Rider, obviously Morbius, and then you've also got Werewolf by Night as well. So
cool.
The story in this book isn't great, but this is a key that you can pick up for around about 150 quid, 200 quid in like high grade. But it's the first time that they team up, and then I'm always like, obviously, like thinking speculation and what might happen in the future with movies and stuff like that. And with Disney and everything and everybody else doing these like more slightly R-rated things, because we've seen it work with like, you know, obviously Deadpool, Logan and things like that. Those slightly more edgy kind of characters.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, thanks for popping in. See you, dude. But yeah, so I'm just thinking it's already a key. First team up with the Legion of Monsters. What could we see Legion of Monsters in some kind of a film? And that was my...
It's a possibility, isn't it? Because they are thinking of doing more horror stuff, aren't they? Or like more adult content for people that aren't interested in like light Disney, as it were.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it could. I could definitely see that happening, especially Ghost Rider, because he was very popular. He wasn't well received in the Shield, in Shield, but he is a popular character.
Yeah, and that's all I was thinking. Really, I just thought it was something that in the head, and that it just stood out as being a first team appearance, obviously for Morbius, and so I had a read of it. Would I? It's a one shot, and my performance with one shots is not great. I'm not a fan of the one shot, and this really wasn't very good.
One shot is what you need, mate.
Mate, this is so it's such a random story. So basically, none of this lot are connected at the start of the story. Then, out of nowhere, a mountain drops down into the middle of like Sunset Strip or something like that in California. This mountain drops out of the sky, and then all of like the your Ghost Riders and everything happen to be in the area. They end up having a bit of a scrap. Then this gold dude appears on a horse, and then everybody except for Ghost Rider, who's a goody-goody, they attack the gold guy on the horse, and Ghost Rider's saying, "No, don't attack him." He's Then they have this trippy dream thing, and then they kill the gold dude, and that's how it happens. Did I sell it to you?
The gold dude sounds cool.
Gold dude.
I don't know what his name was. Game of Thrones got dropped into it though.
But yeah, so yeah, massive mountain from an alien place dropped on Earth. These dudes turn up. Rather than help him, they try and kill him. Apart from Ghost Rider.
Well done, Strider.
There you go. So that's Marvel Presents 28. Legion of Monsters, guys. So that was my kind of second pick of the keys to that I'll definitely be keeping an eye open for that, because I just think I just like team ups really. So your second book, mate, I'll just bring it up.
Oh, so it goes in quite nicely with what you've just talked about. This is Legion of Monsters issue 1.
Yeah.
Written by Dennis Hopeless and art by June Doe. This is actually the first team appearance of this particular team, and it's Elsa Bloodstone, Morbius, Werewolf by Night, so a mummy basically. But I actually really like this. The first couple of opening panels is some monster dragging a dead body's leg through the forest, just leaving a trail of destruction, and then it goes from there. And it's really like, if anything, it's a very adult book, I would say. I didn't expect it to be like that. I really enjoyed it from the story point of view, because you get the idea that Morbius is a nice guy trying to make up for all his past wrongdoings as a vampire. He's put these monsters together who want to also be redeemed, as it were. So they're policing other monsters. I like it. And then this Elsa Bloodstone, she turns up halfway through to try and catch this monster, and she is a bad ass, is the best way to describe it. She just shoots to kill. It doesn't matter whether you're innocent or not. Some of the stuff that comes out in this is amazing. But obviously, Morbius is trying to be a really nice guy. He's trying to settle bits with these monsters. He's trying to kind of make them keep the monsters under control, but equally let them still live their lives. You know, like if they're a vampire, he's trying to like say, right, you do need blood, but don't get it from here. Get it from here. Don't kill anyone. Whereas this Elsa Bloodstone's like, if he's sucking blood from someone, I'm going to shoot him in the face. So yeah, either sort your stuff out or I'm going to sort it out for you. So it's really good. Yeah,
proper vampire hunter, like just yeah.
If they made a TV series out of this, I'd watch it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, it does. It's definitely got like legs. I think like Legion of Monsters. Like it was just a story in the one I spoke about in that Marvel Presents. It was just a random story, and it wasn't really a horror story.
No,
it was like almost like they'd tried to do too many things because like there was like this alien from another planet, and he was gold, and it just didn't really make any sense. Do you know what I mean? But there were cool characters in there, but they didn't really. They didn't. It just didn't make any sense. It was just a one shot of epic proportions.
I think this is an 8-parter. This isn't like an 8-part series.
So.
And it's got potential. From what I might read the rest of them because it's got potential. Because at the start, halfway through it, you find out that this one monster at the start that Bloodstone has done whatever she's done to. They find out that he wasn't quite right. There was something wrong with him, so they have to put this team together to hunt whoever's doing whatever it's doing. And I think it sounds really interesting because I only know of Elsa Bloodstone through the current Deadpool run because he's now King of the Monsters.
Yeah,
and this character that they're referring to is currently in the Deadpool series. So it is actually really quite all intertwined. It's brilliant.
Like as I say, the ones your sort of more modern sort of picks definitely seem to have like a better kind of a better bit of legs. Right then, so I'm going to the last book I'm going to talk about, and it's basically the current run. Although we don't effectively have any current runs at the moment, but
I haven't got the runs.
And the main reason why I've done that is that I did earlier in the year pick up the first 2 issues. So I've got issue 1 here, and I was trying to figure out who did the cover art on this one because the only reason why I bought them was the fact that I like the covers, and then that's obviously cover 2, and again, but they're very. I just like the covers because and they were just cover buys for me. But I don't know who did the cover art. But as I say, I haven't read that. I hadn't read them. I put them in bags and boards and put them away in storage until me and Tom have been talking. But it looks pretty awesome and a lot better than that first. A hell of a lot better than the first, the first appearance of Morbius, definitely.
I'm sure I've read somewhere that the volume 2 and volume 3 have actually been very well received. And I mean, I'll talk about mine in a minute, but I think yours is volume 3, and I do think it has been one of the most popular versions of Morbius. I don't know if they've rewritten his origin or what they've done with him, but it has changed the dynamic slightly of the character. So I think they've gone down the route of him being a more of an anti-hero that's trying to redeem himself rather than him come in as a horror. He's going to kill everybody. He's a vampire, which is what they did originally with him.
I mean, I've just found out the cover artist is Ryan Brown, a guy called Ryan Brown. So, and they are really, really cool covers, and that was the only reason why I bought them. But I'll probably read them tonight, just out of curiosity, just have a little look. But yeah, so that rounds it up to your last book, mate. So,
it does. So I'm going to be talking about Morbius The Living Vampire Volume 2, but I really like the variant cover, which is the Scotty Young variant cover, which you can see on the screen, which is basically Morbius as a baby with a bottle full of blood. I just think it's really cool. I love Scotty Young's artwork. I think he's great. This was written by John Keentime, and the art is done by Richard Elson. Do you know how hard it was for me to find out who the artist was on this one? Because everywhere you go, it says it's Gabriele Dell'Otto, but it's not. He's the cover artist on the normal cover, but I could not find for the life of me who the artist was. I had to actually go into a Marvel database to find out who the artist was for this one. Really aggravating. But they retell his origins in this book, which is why it's a key. And he actually plays a homeless guy at one point in this. And again, it's the same idea that he's a nice guy. He's already done his origins. He's already done his fight with Spider-Man. He's broke out of Riker's prison, He's made himself way back to New York. They've said, right, you can't be around here. He's, gone to this other place, and he's acting like a homeless guy and just living off the streets, trying to make keep low, as it were. And he just gets himself into trouble for being nice. He just makes the wrong decision. He just crosses the wrong kind of like people in this area, because it's just a rough area he's living in, because it keeps him out the limelight, as it were. Like, he can't be found by Spider-Man because no superheroes go in this area, because it's they kind of police themselves.
Oh, okay.
So, but he does this whole nice guy routine where he's, helps this woman and her child, and then it's like, you've just stepped on the toes of a gang member's business. I mean, you've now screwed yourself, basically. I actually really like this one, and they do cover in this particular book. You don't need to have had to read any Morbius beforehand, because in this book they tell you why he was in Rikers. They tell you how he became a vampire, the fact that he actually isn't a vampire, and they also go through his abilities, and it's all in the first few panels, which I really enjoyed. So if you've never read any Morbius before, don't intend to read any of the old stuff. Pick this issue 1 up, and you'll know all you need to know about him.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, I'll have a read through of the like the current run ones, and I'll see if they do a good job of explaining it. As I say, they look. I mean, you only have to look at like that sort of cover image to imagine what it's going to be like. But
yeah,
it would be like quite heavy horror by the looks of it. So, but yeah, I'm kind of like looking forward to it, because I was like very much like, oh, I'm really not sure whether I like Morbius or not, but I really do want to, because I want to find out more about his character ready for the film.
I feel like he's got the potential, Morbius, as an idea, a living vampire who's not quite a vampire, who's struggling with being a vampire but doesn't want to be a bloodsucker. I think that has some serious premise. However, it's basically Blade. So I think if you had to weigh up the two, you'd be like, yeah, Blade all day, every day. So I really want them to make Morbius better and do something with Morbius. But because of the fact that he's going head to head with Blade, as it were, I feel like Blade's got so much more going for him, because he actually kills vampires.
Yeah, well, as I say, I think he's always like he's an anti-hero, but he is a true born hero, isn't he? With Blade. He's vampire hunter, light against dark, but he's the day walker and all of that, and he's got so many sort of endearing qualities, hasn't he? I think, as a character. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to like. I'd love it at the moment. I want to collect so many different runs of comics, and it's just
tell me about it.
It's just terrible. But I think I just need to like just read what I want to read, and
yeah, I think that's the way forward, especially in these strange times we live in, is to just pick up what you want to read. Grab yourself Marvel Unlimited or go on the DC Online and just read whatever you want to read. Don't worry about trying to collect anything at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Just read what you want to read. Try something new.
Yeah, I think I am looking forward to like hitting shows when all this sort of stuff's over, and just being able to go through like your bargain bins and just being able to pick up like a real mix, sort of like my sort of core ASM type of books, but then like that's why I like doing this show, because we're kind of going out of our comfort zone. Like, I've never really been that interested in Morbius very much, but with everything with the film and stuff, it's sort of pinged my interest. And like you say, because of the crossovers with Blade and that kind of thing, and the way that things might happen in the future, it's really cool. So yeah, hopefully we'll all get back to normal at some point, and I'll be able to pick some nice stuff up.
Hell yeah.
But we've pretty much done, aren't we, Tom?
We are indeed, guys. But remember, don't forget to come back on Thursday, because we're going to do our comics in quarantine. We're going to show you what we've been reading apart from Morbius stuff, and we're going to tell you a little bit about what we've got in the post.
Yeah, well, I've had some pretty epic posts. I haven't been through everything yet, but I've had 2 single issues come through, Silver Age books, neither of which are keys. They're just like collection fillers. And then I've got I think it's about 30 Flash and Batman Silver Age stuff from like the late 60s.
Nice.
So Yeah, so yeah, if you want to see what I've got, guys, definitely come back on Thursday and I'll go through everything with you. So, on that note, stay safe, keep washing your hands, don't touch your face, and take care.
And I'm going to say stay safe, keep the NHS going, and see you